Stem cells, your body's natural healing system. You get a cut on your finger, the next day it heals up. How does that happen? By age 65, you've lost 90% of your output of adult stem cells. But now you may be able to boost stem cell levels naturally within 1 hour by 30% with a new plant-based capsule. Everyone's chemistry is different, but for many, this produces a variety of benefits to reduce the effects of aging. Beth and I take this every day. It's even worked on Beth's 90-year-old mom. After just 2 months of Stem Enhance Ultra, her blood pressure dropped from 147/82 to 103/61. Check out our website at billstill.com/stemcell.
Good evening. I'm still reporting on the coup. On Maria Bartiromo's show on Fox this morning, Speaker Kevin McCarthy gave a remarkable inside view of what's going on with the onrushing September 30th budget deadline in Congress. According to McCarthy, this year a small group of Republicans is threatening to vote with the Marxist wing of the Democrat Party if they don't get everything they want in the budget.
Let's talk about the meetings that you've been having all weekend over this September 30th deadline. What can you tell us in terms of a path forward? Do you have agreement on a path forward?
I feel we made some good progress this weekend. You know, when Republicans took the majority, we wanted to change Washington. We make members show up for work, no more proxy voting, bills have to go through committee, no more of these omnibuses where bills, the appropriation bills get jammed to us on Christmas time. But what we're trying to do is pass them individually. Unfortunately, I had a handful of members last week that literally the Republicans stopped the Department of Defense appropriations from coming forward. None of them can complain. This is giving our troops a pay raise, making our military strong against China, getting the wokeism that the Democrats have put in out. And so I'm trying to get that to move forward, to stop, to make sure that the Republicans aren't stopping us from being able to get our work done before the 30th.
So why don't you just bring the bill to the floor to see who would vote against funding the military?
Well, we will do that this week. I gave them an opportunity this weekend to try to work through this, and we'll bring it to the floor, win or lose, and show the American public who's for the Department of Defense, who's for our military, who's for giving them a pay raise and making sure we can take the wokeism out.
Walk us through the issues that you're feeling pushback from this handful of members on a continuing resolution. What do you want to see happen here?
Well, I understand the frustration we have with this administration, but it's a difference of strategy. Some people say you should shut down, but think about this. I've been through shutdowns, and I've never seen somebody win a shutdown. Because when you shut down, you give all your power to the administration. But how are you going to win your arguments to secure the border if the border agents don't get paid? How are you going to win the arguments to get wokeism out of the Department of Defense if even our own troops won't being paid? You have no strength there. I think the greatest ability to it is finish the appropriation work, the show that we do, give us a short time period to get that done, and make the case to the American public. I will promise you this, that based upon this administration's policies along the border, you got the mayor of New York becoming a border community, right? Everybody wants this border secure. We'll win that argument. And I think that's the basis. You've got AOC being heckled in New York. You've got every community feeling what's happening with fentanyl, killing Americans across this country, all based upon the Biden administration's decisions. And we've got to be able to stop that.
Then Maria asked Speaker McCarthy if it was true that ISIS members are now being rushed to the border to get into the United States before the border closes again.
You mentioned that ISIS members are coming over the border as well.
This is important, and you've covered the border, I think, better than anyone on television early on. What we have now found out, that somebody associated with ISIS has been hired to bring people across the border. You've watched now that the Biden administration, we caught more people in the month of February on the terrorist watch list than in the entire last 4 years under the last administration. So I have requested last Friday a full classified briefing for all members of Congress about what's happening on the border right now, but most importantly, what's happening with this individual that has ties to ISIS. This was so important that they had a classified briefing sent to all the cabinet members in the White House that we heard just last week. I think members of Congress need to know about this.
Well, I mean, have you gotten a response from Alejandro Mayorkas, Joe Biden on ISIS members walking across into America?
Well, they say they're tied to ISIS, so I don't know. I've read it in the CNN. That's why I want a classified briefing for all members. We only have this happen on classified briefings a couple times a year on threats to America. I think this is one of our greatest threats to America right now.
Well, look, I understand most people agree with that there's common ground on securing the border. But your members, many of your members, even beyond the most conservative, do not want to see Nancy Pelosi's policies continue. So how are you going to push back on that and ensure that you can actually see the cuts in spending that you want?
The only way you're going to be able to do that is you have to pass the appropriation bills, because these are Republican bills. These are the most conservative bills going forward. But remember, you don't get it all your own way. So the Senate, you have to compete with the Senate. And unfortunately, on the Senate side, the Republicans and Democrats over there are writing bills to spend more money. Ours are the most conservative, but if we don't pass them, we're weaker in the negotiations. So anytime a Republican wants to hold back and stop the floor from working when Republicans have the majority, that puts us in a weaker position to win in the end of the day.
But even if you get agreement, and do you think you'll get agreement this week, by the way?
I believe we'll get agreement this week.
Even if you get agreement, aren't we at a standstill anyway? Are you going to get agreement in the Senate? Is Joe Biden going to sign this?
I don't know, because the Senate blew up last week, too. They could not pass anything. So we have a real problem here. I mean, look what's happening under this Biden America country. The most union president in the world did policies that he's getting union auto workers fired because he's turning everything towards China and electric cars. And now they're all on strike. You got gasoline at the highest price because he attacks the energy where America could be energy independent. He makes our allies weaker, our adversaries stronger. He brings us inflation by his runaway spending. But we've been able to chip away with that. You know, with the debt ceiling, it was the biggest cut in American history, more than $2 trillion. We forced, actually, government to work with a 1% cut across the board if they don't get all their work done on appropriations. We're setting a structure to change the course of history.
Well, all of that, the policies that you mentioned of the Biden administration, is one reason that Donald Trump is leading in the polls right now. What's your take on this, that as we see more indictments of Donald Trump, he seems to be gaining in terms of popularity with the public? Will he be the nominee?
I think he will be the nominee. And the thing is, President Trump is stronger today than he was in 2016 or 2020. And there's a reason why. They saw the policies of what he was able to do with America, putting America first, making our economy stronger. We didn't have inflation. We didn't have these battles around the world. We didn't look weak around the world.
Well, it looks like Ron DeSantis is now trying to work with your colleagues who are pushing for a shutdown.
This is one of the most interesting segments of this interview. McCarthy's reasoning about why a shutdown is bad in this case.
A shutdown would only give strength to the Democrats. It would give the power to Biden. It wouldn't pay our troops. It wouldn't pay our border agents. More people would be coming across. I actually want to achieve something. And this is where President Trump is so smart, that he was successful in this. You know, President Trump is beating Biden right now in the polls. He's stronger than he has ever been in this process. And look, I served with Ron DeSantis. He's not at the same level as President Trump by any shape or form. He would not have gotten elected without President Trump's endorsement. And so I believe our best step forward, pass our appropriation bills so we're stronger. Take the wokeism out, secure our border to make America stronger.
Maria then asks about bringing in Hunter Biden during the impeachment inquiry. McCarthy reveals that the Republicans are following a carefully crafted strategy with this investigation. Very interesting.
Don Jr. spent 20 hours. They didn't have any evidence, and yet they brought him in. They questioned him. How come you haven't brought in Hunter Biden?
Think about this, Maria. You wouldn't know any of this if we weren't in charge.
Oh, I understand. I understand that.
The one thing American public has to understand is there's a strategy behind everything. We only follow facts. Hunter Biden will get subpoenaed, but when's the appropriate time? Do you do it because television wants it, or do you do it around the facts and the timing? When Comer, I think we should have the bank statements to actually know where did the money go, so you would know the questions to ask Hunter Biden. To subpoena Hunter Biden because you want to fundraise or you want to do something, but we also have 5,400 emails.
Did you hear that? 5,400 emails that no one in Congress has ever seen yet from Biden's fake name. That's extraordinary.
5,400 emails that Joe Biden used as vice president, a false name that we have not been able to get yet. Wouldn't it be smarter in an investigation that you were able to get all of those emails? Because with that show, we saw one where it was sent to Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, about a phone call with the president of Ukraine. Wouldn't you want to know all that information so you can ask all the right questions? So I think let them do their job. They're doing a very good job at it, and let them follow it and take it at the right time.
Are there plans to subpoena any other family members? Because according to the Republicans, family members accepted money from all
Well,
of
it
these.
looks to me like 9 Biden family members got money. I want to see bank statements. I think they'd have to come before us to answer the questions. Remember what impeachment inquiry is. It empowers Congress in a legal ability to get the information we need. That's going to be bank statements, that's going to be credit card statements, that's going to be family members coming in and answering the questions so the American public can know.
I know last week fireworks were all over the place here. You have Matt Gaetz pushing you to shut down the government until he gets what he wants in the face of all of this. He tweeted this morning about you, saying, Speaker McCarthy tries to subjugate my critique of his failure as some sort of ethics committee reaction. What is your reaction to Matt Gaetz? Are we now once again talking about a motion to vacate?
Well, it could, and that would be if you did a motion to vacate, you would have to, a handful of Republicans work with Adam Schiff, Eric Swalwell, Ilhan Omar, to remove the speaker. And it would be exactly what the president wants, because it would shut down. How would we, you know how much we went through in January. How would we ever select the speaker? I would stay, and we'd go through it. So there would be no investigation. But it's not something I lay out there that Matt's mad about an ethics complaint. It's an ethics complaint that happened in the last Congress that Matt went to other members saying, I'm going to try to influence Kevin to get involved in an ethics committee. I can't do it.
Yeah.
It's illegal.
It's pretty extraordinary.
It's not something I will be a part of.
It's extraordinary to me that in the face of all that you and your colleagues have been able to uncover,
Yes.
you're once again getting these threats from Matt Gaetz and a handful of others?
Look, these are individuals that they have a right to do what they want, but I am only going to focus on the American public. Look, I showed in January, I will never give up. We have made great progress here in changing this Capitol. And when you change Washington, you get enemies. I got Adam Schiff. I got Eric Swalwell upset because I kicked him off the Intel Committee. You got Matt Gaetz working with Swalwell to try to throw me out. That's all well and good, but I'm not going to be deterred from that.
Yeah.
I'm going to focus. We're going to secure our border. We're going to cut spending to end inflation. We're going to make America energy independent. We passed the Parents' Bill of Rights. We've been able to remove so many of the IRS agents. We're going after the next. We're going to make our military stronger and get this pay raise through, even if they want to vote against it.
What's the likelihood of a shutdown?
Look, I want to make sure we don't shut down. I don't think that is a win for the American public, and I definitely believe it will make our hand weaker if we shut down.
Now I know that there is another side to this story, but at this point, McCarthy makes a good case for passing a budget bill on the House side that is the most conservative that he thinks he can get, and then send it on to the Senate. Let's keep our eyes open for a similarly formatted response from Matt Gaetz or someone else trying to justify voting with the desperados. We are still reporting from just outside the citadel of world freedom. Good day.